Hello, my name is Will Stewart. I am a recent parent. My son was born 10 days ago. Um, and so I best to sort of start this testimonial from the beginning. This journey started in June of 2022. It was not initially with Soluciones, it was with another um, clinic in Cancun, and for various reasons decided to leave that particular clinic, and was looking around, talking to various people. I had learned a little bit about more about surrogacy abroad, and there's a lot of different options. There's a lot of different agencies and clinics that cater to various people and their desires and sort of their experience. Um, I met Dr. Carlos through a friend, and we had a probably 45 minute phone call just discussing about solutions and what they do and about the clinic. And one thing that he said to me, he goes, "You are not a client. You're not a customer. You're a patient." And he said, "We treat all of our people like they're patients." And I think that meant a lot to me because I was in the medical field, and there's a certain way to treat patients. We're not treating them like they're a client. It's just it's a different relationship. So after some consideration, I decided to go with Soluciones. That started. In fact, this was fast forwarded quite a bit. Um, had to create more embryos, and Dr. Carlos gave me several options for egg donors. I picked a good one who was experienced, and the the sort of creation of the embryos was very seamless for me. Sometimes it may not be for some people, but it was like choose the egg donor, and she immediately got started, and she did what she needed to. I came down to Cancun to give my genetic sample, and you know, we were fortunate enough to do a sort of a fresh embryo creation, and a few days later, we had 4 or 5 perfect embryos. Um, we had a surrogate. My first one, we had a transfer. Unfortunately, it wasn't successful, but that's okay. That's part of the process, part of the story. I was able to immediately find another surrogate. I think the waiting time for that first surrogate was less than 2 weeks, 10 days maybe. Um, and so I had a surrogate already assigned to me. And from there, um, like I said, the first one didn't work out, but we got a second one, and she immediately started her preparations for the frozen embryo transfer. And from there, this was October, late October, and for the end of October, or November, early November, I got a phone call that said that the surrogate was pregnant. So that was great news, and sort of went from there. And that transition in my mind to a very different stage, because there's a stage before that was all the preparation and all the things that go into sort of getting to this point, and now there's an actual sort of we're it's game time. And so for the next 9 months, it was regular communication with the clinic, really talking to the doctors, talking to Dr. Carlos, working with the surrogate, working with the coordinator to make sure she was doing everything she needed to do. I did meet her on by video conference, and we talked, and she was great, and I thought she was committed to the process. And it was sort of the 9 months of checking in and how she doing, what does she need. I think she is a very nice person, and so she really didn't ask for much. I sort of had to ask multiple times, "Do you need anything?" And she finally said, "Yes, I need stockings or something like that." And I was able to happily provide everything that she needed. Um, Toward the end of the pregnancy, things were going great, and I was given a due date, a delivery date of when to come to Cancun. I arrived 2 days early. I found a great Airbnb that I didn't realize it was about a 5 minute walk from where I was from the hospital. So got there 2 days early on Wednesday. We knew the Saturday morning everything was going to happen. I arrived at the hospital quite early, like at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. We're doing some pre-operations checks for the surrogate, and by 11:45, my son was born, and that was obviously a very different experience. But just before that, like the medical staff, the doctor, I was concerned about being in the operating room when that was happening. The surgeon happily said yes, and I was able to actually witness the birth. Um, Immediately, there was a neonatologist there when he came out, and she picked him up and sort of cleaned him off and was getting him ready and showing me, and I was able to cut the cord, hear his cries, everything that you would want to hear. And so, uh, it sort of words can't express what I was feeling in those moments. Um, Next thing I knew, we went up to the sort of floor where the surrogate was staying, and was able to sit with him for quite a while and just be there with him. And 2 days later, we kind of came back to my Airbnb, and I'm still here currently, and um, we're really prospering, and we've had a pediatric visit, and everyone's checking on the baby, checking in on me, and so I can't speak highly enough of the staff. They went above and beyond. Um, Cindy, who works with the surrogates and egg donors, was very integral in finding me a great nanny who has been excellent teaching. She cares for him overnight, and so the staff really does go above and beyond my expectations of what I would want. And right now, everything is going great. We're going to be heading home in a few days. We are working on the birth certificate now. Should be done another few days. And I will go to the U.S. Embassy. They will do our CRVA and our passport, and we'll be back home hopefully middle of July. So I really can't speak highly enough of Soluciones, and I did feel like a patient. I never felt like a client or customer or anything. I felt like they were really committed to the program, and Dr. Carlos was really committed to making sure that I have a happy and healthy family, and he's exceeded expectations. So thank you so much, and yeah, hope you join Solutions and can have a great experience like I did. Thank you. So, as part of sort of the testimonial, it's probably good to actually see the baby, my son. So this is Alexander. He just cooperates and turns his head. He was born 7.61 pounds, about 22 inches, healthy, screaming, and currently he's 10 days old, and he drinks 3 ounces of milk every time that we feed him. So this is a real baby. This is a real thing. So I just wanted you to see. Thanks.